I appreciate you making me cry. I'm living a dream. I'm making sure that I enjoy this moment. I've learned that after my 46 years of life. It's not going to get better than this.
You guys are hot.
And cheers to 29,000 PGA Tour professionals, PGA professionals of the world. It's for you guys. Thank you.
Michael Block, Dream Week. Got even more surreal yesterday. He's 46 years old. He's what they call an everyman club pro from Mission Viejo in California. Not only did he get a hole-in-one on 15, as you just heard, but he finished in a tie for 15th, which earned him an automatic exemption in next year's PGA Championship. And before yesterday, his largest paycheck he ever won on a tournament was $75,000. Just still a lot. And I've seen conflicting reports, but either it's around $290 to $309 for 15th place yesterday. But minutes after he finished, it was interesting that he gets a phone call from the tournament director at Colonial, which is the PGA Tour event next week in Fort Worth, to give, as he got the final sponsor exemption, which was brilliant on the folks there at the Colonial for actually bringing him on, because it's going to be huge. People are going to want to just see him be out there, and then he gets the call to play up in the Canadian Open, which is cool too. Yep. And, a couple times he had to call the airlines to change his flights because he makes the cut on Friday. He was supposed to go back to California, Friday night or Saturday morning, and then he ends up having to stay. And, for him, only 1 in 20 club pros in the 156-player field made the cut. So that was impressive on his part, and to have some success, because no pro, this is an interesting stat, no club pro has ever finished in the top 10 in the 105-year history of the PGA Championship, and he almost did it.
Wow.
Almost did it.
I thought what was really interesting was when he was holding a news conference, finally after his rounds were over, and that's when his phone rang, and it was the tournament director in Fort Worth at Colonial. And he said, I know what you're going to ask me, and if you do that, I'm just going to start crying. And the guy says, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And he asks him to come play in the tournament. You have an exemption. And the camera panned over, and his wife was about 2 chairs down with her head on the table, sobbing that she was so excited what was going on. She was overwhelmed with emotion that he got that call while he was conducting his press interview. Unbelievable.
Yeah, great story. Real good story. Is. And then, aside from him, that was, of course, a big story. But what was even bigger was Brooks Koepka, his 2-shot win over Scotty Scheffler, who had a great Sunday. You can imagine if the weather was better Saturday, what he would have done. And Victor Hovland, who I kind of thought maybe he would have won. I kind of was leaning on betting a little bit on him to kind of have a good Sunday. But he, kind of fueled out a little bit. But the win for Koepka, his 5th major championship. And you put him up there with, Byron Nelson, some big game guys, and he got a $3.15 million paycheck.
And not to mention, he fell apart in the Masters the last, he could have won that one very easily as well, too. He could have won back-to-back majors and just, bad luck, bad shots, rubber the green, whatever you want to call it. And, John Rahm got hot. But again, you look at Koepka. I mean, if he can stay healthy, every major he plays, and he will have a chance to win. Unfortunately, win the Masters, but he won this one. And you're like, okay, will he fall apart? Having that lead going into the final round like he did at the Masters. But no, he was steady all the way through.
Does this do anything then, because Koepka won for LIV Golf? Does it put him on the planet? Do people pay more attention to it? Or, okay, Koepka won, so what?
I think it gives a little new life to the LIV Tour, because you had 3 LIV golfers in the top 10. Bryson DeChambeau was tied for 4th. Yep. Cameron Smith was tied for 9th. You had the success at Augusta National with him, as well as Phil Mickelson and Patrick Reed, who also finished real strong in the Masters. So that is a big takeaway. I think you have to look at the guys that finished in the top 10 and top 5 in the Masters, that the LIV Tour, which I think has kind of been going, it's been a little quiet because of the fact that they don't have the coverage that they need,
right?
With the WB or the CW and the challenges they've had there. But I'm not a LIV Tour guy at all. I really haven't been. I'm a fan of just the golfers in general. I mean, Koepka won $4 million in the LIV Tour event last month. and he gets
Three
$3
minutes.
million from the PGA Championship.
You know, I look at that as going. I want to see all the good players for the majors.
I'm with you. 100%.
And if it's a live tour,
Yeah.
if I happen to come across it, I'll watch it because you know who the usual suspects are going to be in the live tour. I thought was interesting was Phil Mickelson giving all the accolades to the tournament after the tournament. His comments about it was well put together. It was this, it was that.
He's talking about both sides of
Well, I was just going to say, right, that was my thought is, okay, is he trying to soften him up after the comments he made, 2
exactly
weeks ago?
what he's doing.
But I think to your point, Jimmy, do you watch him? If I come across it and I'm home,
Then you'll
I'll
watch
watch because they're damn good golfers.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd rather watch them at a major or a regular PGA event than watch them by themselves.
You know, if the LIV could play 4 rounds, the LIV could play some of the same rules, then I'm all in. Until they do that, I'm looking at it as okay. You got the NFL and you got the USFL.
Yeah,
the old USFL where you had the superstars. You had Elway and Kelly and Brian Sipe. You had the superstar Herschel Walker. So you peaked in because you had the superstars.
Right.
And I think the same applies to the LIV Tour. Until they get to the same rules. Sure. Then it's hard for me to kind of watch it.
If I could add to that, Rock, it'd be like all those great NFL guys that are still stars. Now they're going down to the USFL because they're getting paid more money going down. Now they're getting paid more money. And do I watch USFL because all of a sudden John Elway or Jim Kelly are back in their peak versus watching the NFL, watching that game? I might peek at it, but if the NFL still got that star power. So that's what I like it too, looking at all those stars in their peak coming back down to USFL. And that's, they're paying him out of the boatloads. Let's say the Saudis bought the USFL.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to pay you $5 million a year. I mean, $30 million a year versus your $25. I don't know if I'd watch USFL.
I'm just such a fan of golf. Every Sunday, I look forward to it. Saturday, Sunday, watching it. Mm-hmm. I just got into something new in regards to I was talking to a guy the other day who actually owns a book. Owns a book, sports book.
A legal sports book?
Yeah, in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
And told me the way to bet golf is matchups. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Scott Spreitzer talked about. He was betting horses matchup. He was betting National Treasure versus so-and-so. And the same thing is look at any given Sunday or any given weekend in golf. You're betting Koepka versus Rahm or Scotty Scheffler versus Phil Mickelson, whomever it is. And that's a new approach I have, and I'm going to see how that works. So to your point, you like to see the majors, but there's only 4. And I like to see 8 to 10 tournaments. There's elevated tournaments, and that I hope that the LIV Tour guys can play in. So that competition will get to that level.
Do they play the TPC at Sawgrass? They were not eligible for that one this last year.
Nope.
I know they want to become more and more involved. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
The big debate will also be who's playing on the Ryder Cup team. Do you take those guys from the LIV Tour, or do you just stay with the PGA guys?
And you guys know, I told you I'm actually going. I have tickets for Thursday and Friday. I've never been to Italy, so I'm pretty excited for my vacation. Well, I'll be working. Excuse me. Hey, you got a delay because I am going to call in.
Your assignment, right?
I am calling in both Thursday and
That's
Friday.
That's how you're writing it off.
And I don't know what the time difference is.
10 hours.
Yeah, so I will call in no matter what time it is.
Okay.
But I will call in with a live report from Rome if you're okay with it.
That's fine.
You got to squeeze me in, or you're gonna like trump me to for Craig Fooey who's next.
No, because if it's 1 o'clock there, it'll be 11 o'clock there at night. So you'll be up anyway. So midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you call in,
eat some pasta.
Absolutely,
a little vino,
red vino.
Hey, Rock, hey, how'd it go today?
Call us. Oh, get your nap. I'll be calling in.
Looking forward to that. But I went 2 years ago, Whistling Straits. It is all about the players being there, and you go for the superstars.
Yep. That's right.
And especially, United States is playing pretty good right now. I like to see them go in there and kick some ass. So